Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Midnight Mailman bringing y'all another round of my freestyle tournament, this time against Aravelli. Just a quick introduction. Aravelli is the #1 player in the freestyle lobby that this tournament is a part of. So in all of the tournaments preceding this, he has the most victories and the best placements overall of everyone. So this is a really strong player, and I've lost to him in the past, and every single time I play him, he plays really well. So I was expecting a pretty tough match going into this, and his team definitely shows that, with a team of Azumaril, Probopass, Meganium, Defense Form Deoxys, Skarmory, and Haunter. A few interesting notes: he has Meganium over Venusaur, which is definitely interesting. The main difference is Meganium loses to Venusaur, but Meganium wins against Defense Form Deoxys a whole lot better. So noting that, my Altaria and Defense Form Deoxys have perfect coverage against his team. And then Venusaur also has pretty good coverage against this team. Venusaur beating Meganium and Azumaril and doing pretty good against Probopass and Defense Form Deoxys, and has a decent matchup against Haunter, but loses pretty badly to Skarmory. And also, looking at his team to decide my lead, I decided to lead Defense Form Deoxys. This was kind of a mistake, because if he had Skarmory in the back, it would have been really hard if I have a lead disadvantage. But I decided that Defense Form Deoxys was a pretty safe lead, and so going with that, just because against every single one of his Pokemon, no matter what he leads with, Defense Form Deoxys will do a lot of damage and or force shields. So I felt like it was a pretty safe lead in general. So without further ado, let's get into this match. Leading that Defense Form Deoxys right into a Probopass. So really good lead matchup for me. Definitely in a positive matchup. He switches out right away into his Meganium. I go straight away into Altaria. Right here, I made a slight mistake. In a second, I decide to go ahead and use a Sky Attack right here. And I definitely should not have used the Sky Attack. I noticed that later, and I tried to undercharge it, but I did not undercharge it enough. So he's just going to bring it back out Probopass and farm me for days. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and use my Sky Attacks and do quite a bit of damage to this Probopass. And then I was thinking, okay, his last Pokemon is probably Haunter, just knowing him because I've faced him before. So I decide to use a lot of Sky Attacks, and I noticed that the switch was really close. So I decide to shield and switch out into Defense Form Deoxys. I probably should have shielded and then used another Sky Attack before switching out, because he's able to get out with a good amount of energy on his Probopass, which definitely is not good. But he switches in Haunter. Seeing that, I'm gonna be able to get off multiple Psycho Boosts due to all those counters I was able to get off against his Probopass, and then also I got off a few against Meganium, built up a decent amount of energy, and then bringing back in Altaria, I thought I was in a good spot, but I didn't realize how much Shadow Ball does. Shadow Ball does a lot of damage to Altaria. And so I lost my Altaria, and at this point I'm kind of in a rough spot, but I'm able to get off this Frenzy Plant and he decides not to use a Shadow Punch. This definitely was a misplay. He should have used a Shadow Punch against my Venusaur because he was able to get off a Rock Slide and bring this game really close. So if he did do that Shadow Punch, then he would have definitely won the game. But he got greedy and thought he could get to a Shadow Ball and win that way. But all in all, really close. So looking back at that, I thought that he might try and be a bit risky and lead a Haunter into my team. So I was thinking, well, my two best counters to Haunter are Sableye and Altaria. So I want to lead one of those two. But leading Altaria into his team is really not a good idea because he could lead Azumaril or Probopass. So I decided to change it up and lead Sableye into his team because I was guessing that I would see a Haunter show up. And Altaria and Defense Form Deoxys have perfect coverage against his team. Again, like I mentioned before. So having those two in the back is definitely a good option. Even if I don't lead awfully too well, that perfect coverage will help me against his team immensely. So knowing that, that's what I decided to go with. That Sableye, Altaria, Defense Form Deoxys, expecting a Haunter lead. Let's see if I get what I expect. And he leads Probopass again. So really gutsy for him to lead Probopass, but me leading Sableye going into this, I knew that the Sableye versus Probopass matchup was not very good for my end. So I was going to try and do a little bit of piggybacking and see if I can pull out a win in this lead. It's probably just little chance that I'll actually be able to win this matchup, but in the off chance that it's possible, definitely gonna try. So I decided to let that Rock Slide go through, see how much damage that does. It did quite a bit of damage, so kinda concerned. But at this point, I thought he might try to farm me down. So I was going to surprise him with another foul play. Put him in the position of he either needs to burn a shield or and be left with 0 to my 1. And my Defense Form Deoxys will probably just come in and farm the rest of him up. Or he loses Probopass with full energy. So he decides to lose Probopass and save his shield. Not sure about this choice, but he's almost able to bring it back just because he's so good using this Haunter. Pulling out this charge move right here, kinda concerned, but I'm like, I'm just gonna shield it and hope for the best. I shield a Shadow Punch that would have still done quite a bit of damage. He's able to get off another Shadow Punch, which did quite a bit of damage, but I thought I could make it to the Sky Attack. He's using a Frenzy Plant Aura, and I know I can survive that. So gonna hit off this Frenzy Plant and do a ton of damage with this Sky Attack, leave him basically with 0 hit points, and with Defense Form Deoxys in the back, I know I win this. So just formalities at that point. Winning round 2 against a really tough opponent, going straight into round 3. See y'all in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.